So this week I'm exploring the lost art, I would say, of communication. And there is so much out there about effective communication and active listening. And it astounds me that we still get it so wrong. And I've been saying this week, we assume because we speak that we're communicating effectively. We assume because we hear that we're listening. And speaking does not mean you're communicating, and hearing does not mean you're listening. They are a skill, but they're a skill that can be learnt. And we especially need leaders in our organisation to acquire those skills, because everything else that a leader does has communication and listening at the foundation. And today I want to talk about the fact that someone says to you, and I've heard this so many times in my career, about over-communicate. Don't over-communicate. There is no such thing as over-communicating. If your message is clear, concise, on key, meets the needs of the audience. And there's a marketing measurement that says, or it's marketing strategy, that says tell people something 7 times and then they will act. Now, it doesn't mean you have to stick to the 7, but just be aware that telling something once, people absorb some of the message, maybe, they're distracted, there's a lot of change going on. So you have to say it again, and say it again, and say it again, and maybe in different ways. Make sure your message is consistent so you don't confuse people. But do not be persuaded that you can over-communicate. And think about the channels that I talked about yesterday, that you're not bombarding people with email, find different ways. And the other thing that I cannot emphasize enough, and we forget this so often, is when you're communicating about a change, something that's happening to the organisation, in the organisation, start with why. Often the initiators of change have the discussion of why we need to do something in a virtual or physical office. And then they open the door and they say, we're going to have a digital transformation and we're going to invest in AI. All they're telling them is what needs to be done and how, not saying why. And I'm not buying into that unless you tell me why. And I use the analogy of someone saying to me, Karen, we're going to Sydney tomorrow. I'm in Melbourne. We're going to Sydney tomorrow. I will drive. I'll pick you up at 8. I'm not inclined to get in the car because I don't know why we're taking a long drive to Sydney. I need the why to get on board. So start with the reason that we need to retain customers, that we need to increase profit, that we need to provide a better product, that we need to be more competitive. Whatever it is, start with why.